Welcome to TAO Talk, the weekly blockmates show recapping all the news in the Bittensor ecosystem. I'm your host, 563, joined always by my co-host, Brody from Onchain Outpost. This week, we're joined by our special guest, CK from Tensorplex. How's it going, guys?
Really good. Excited to have you on, CK. We connected last week. Tensorplex is working on a lot of cool stuff and really excited to kind of dig into that. It's been a huge week for Bittensor out in Singapore for Token 2049. Both the Onchain Outpost team and people on the Blockmates team are out in Singapore getting all the alpha. Tensorplex, the team is actually based out of Singapore too, so I'm sure it's been quite annoying for you guys who are locals with all the crowds and all the people and expensive grabs. And on top of that, F1 weekend is this weekend too. So huge weekend for Singapore. So I don't know, CK. Oh, something just fell out of my pocket. But CK, if you want to give us kind of a TLDR on your experience so far and in Singapore and how the events have been going, that'd be cool.
Yeah, so this week we finally got to meet a lot of investors, other projects, and friends that previously I only spoke to virtually, and it's way better to connect with people in person than just being just discussing serious issues every time when we meet virtually. So things have been great, and you're right. Singapore it actually feels like visibly more busy. Like the crypto folks actually crowded the city quite a bit, and there's way more traffic congestion than usual. Like usually Singapore is one of the rare cities in Southeast Asia that doesn't really have congestion. So it's finally happening. And today it's the day of the Bittensor Asia meetup. I think it's the second one. We co-hosted it, and I would say my observation is that the quality of both Bittensor subnets and people that are actively following Bittensor has gone up quite a lot, despite TAO's price have been fluctuating instead of just going straight line up. So I think maybe it's just the Bittensor system's incentive mechanisms working very well, where people are always incentivized to build and outcompete each other in the ecosystem. So yeah, things have been very good.
Awesome.
I know we don't want to venture too far down the price talk, but TAO is up roughly 20% on the news that the boys are TAO pilling everybody in Singapore really hard this week. Hey, I'm not a technical analyst, or I'm not a I don't see patterns in the charts, but yeah. I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with it. Maybe it has something to do with the 50 basis point rate cut as well. But price going up, tech is improving.
Yeah, tech is rapidly improving, especially for all kinds. But yeah, no price talk for today.
Yeah, but CK.
But yeah, you go first.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to start really high level, if it's all right with you. Like, why? Like, what's the founding vision of Tensorplex Labs? Like, why do AI decentralized? Why go Bittensor? What got you into crypto in the first place?
Yeah, so I got into crypto in 2017 because like I've always been the type of kid that just loved following technology. Like 10 years ago when Apple events were still very exciting, I would actually like stay up very late in Asia hours just to watch what Steve Jobs or even Tim Cook were announcing. So in 2017, Bitcoin has obviously done very well, and I looked quite deep into the tech and also the basically history of money, and I think it's just a very very cool idea of non-sovereign money. So that's how I started following crypto and investing in crypto actively. So I did full-time investments starting 2021 in crypto, and I've been on the investment side basically until like late last year when I realized hey, AI is going to be the most transformative technology in a lifetime. We always joke about crypto transforming the very like fabric of society, but I think AI is actually going to do it. And I've been especially because 2022 2023 those were bear markets, and everyone were discussing, oh, so what's the actual use case of crypto? I think financial use case is very obvious, right? Stable coins have been actually changing lives in a lot of third world countries. And the question is, what's the next big thing? And I think decentralizing AI is one of the most important missions that crypto can and should tackle, because crypto is very good at coordinating people, in a decentralized way to target big problems together. And AI is a very centralizing force that's very scary, because like AI systems can be used, both as applications directly, like ChatGPT, or as infra behind a lot of applications like Instagram algorithm. And AI is centralizing in the sense that the companies with the most resources to develop models and also to distribute the use of these models, they will gain immense power. A very good investor said it's like power law squared for big corporates and governments. And there's the risk of them using AI to kind of shape people's thoughts, manipulate our thoughts, or even censor some of the ideas. And I think it can go very scary. And I think decentralized AI is a way where there will be more transparency, more responsibility baked into the system. And I think crypto can do it. And Bittensor is, I think, one of the most exciting ecosystems I've seen last few years. And it just felt like the right mission in the right time in the right ecosystem. So yeah, that's why I co-founded Tensorplex Labs with my co-founder. He's Exponent Crisis on Twitter. Yeah.
Love it, man. Love it. Love it.
Love
So
it.
let's get into the news for the week. I think there was some pretty good stuff that happened. Let me bring this up real quick. So I think biggest topics of conversation are obviously what's going on next, and this was what was shared over on actually during the event, late breaking. So what's on the horizon? I think the top one here, I think Const mentioned it like offhand during the last novelty search, and of course it's like the thing that's like drumming up so much attention is EVM functionality, basically. So the ability to host smart contracts live on Bittensor is a big deal. I don't think people realize how big of a deal it is, just because you finally get that Turing complete language on something like Bittensor. You can get liquid staking tokens, maybe ERC20 wrappers for subnet tokens, going down different rabbit holes there. But really interested to hear your thoughts, CK, on what you think comes around the corner with this new technology. I know it's not out yet, and it's probably not going to be out for a little while, but what gears are turning in your head when you see this?
So, like we're still, like we've discussed quite a bit internally. Like we knew before a nobody search, and the idea is that the EVM integration makes it both easier for people to just hold TAO, because finally you don't need to interact with the Polkadot based wallets. And also it expands the design space for subnets. Maybe subnets can have their own smart contract powered applications, and you can channel the subnet emissions to those applications. So more functionality can be achieved, and it's just easier for people to access. And it's easier for there to be like bridges bringing in more maybe assets in TAO ecosystem, so maybe people can finally use stable coins in some of the applications as well. So I think there will be a lot more design space, and our team internally have been also thinking about what are the potential primitives that we can build in the EVM ecosystem. But I don't want to pre-commit to anything beforehand, so I'll just leave it there.
Yeah, I know we have some alpha to talk about at the end, so we'll save that for then. Brody, any thoughts on the updates here on EVM or any of the other ones up here? I know we talk about DTAO quite a bit, but any of the other ones?
Yeah, I think the EVM thing is the coolest thing that is being talked about right now. It's funny when Const makes an offhand comment in like a community call, and then everyone kind of just runs with it and creates their own narrative out of it. So I'm sure that this will expand and blossom into something else. An extension of this EVM narrative will be something much bigger next week, where people will be kind of submitting different design ideas for protocols that can be built leveraging this. So I think the design space is completely expanded because of this, kind of what CK was saying. And I think that this bodes really well for Tensorplex specifically and liquid staking tokens, which I'm sure we can get into. But yeah, I think this has an opportunity to attract a lot more people and capital, and will also serve as somewhat of a marketing engine for BitTensor because of all of the composability opportunities that this will enable. But yeah, we can talk a little bit more about this probably next week, and of course further down the line, because this is just a whole conversation in and of itself.
Yeah, I come from like the whole DeFi side of things, so this just makes me excited because there's so many games you can
Exactly.
start playing when you have this functionality. And I'm excited to see where the subnets take it because it's up to them to design this and play the games, and that's the incentive, right? To be better and play the game. So, just more tools in the toolbox is always a good thing. All right, another thing that came up this week are bits. So Bittensor improvement tenets. So this one's a little bit for the ones for folks that are deep in the weeds who want to get like the bleeding edge of what's going on, what's being talked about. You can start going into these discussion boards. So basically, if you think of EIPs for Ethereum, these are improvement proposals that the community can come up with, can start discussing the pros and cons of, and it starts opening the door to decentralized development of the chain, which is really what's going to be necessary in the long run. There's different areas of decentralization we could talk about, whether that's financial or nodes or the development, but this starts opening the door to the development decentralization. So I'm excited about it. Have you guys checked these out yet?
Yeah, I have. I think it's a good initiative, especially for organizing just general protocol um, development ideas in this singular interface or forum, I should say. Um, Really looking forward to seeing these kind of gain more traction because a lot of this discussion is obviously occurring in different different Discord channels, and within those different Discord channels, they're on different days, and scrolling through all of it's a pain. Which is why we're doing what we're doing at TAO Times, is so that you guys don't have to continuously scrape the Discord yourselves. But yeah, I think that this will be a good resource to reference, and I'm hoping that the community is starting to realize that they should be consolidating all of their opinions and thoughts into these forums.
CK, any
CK?
thoughts?
Yeah, I think the Bittensor Discord is one of the most busy Discord because so many things happening, and organizing it here is a good idea. I've been looking forward to maybe someone figuring out how to use Bittensor to summarize what has been discussed in the Discord. So it's more also demonstrates the power of the ecosystem. So for now, we thank Brody for summarizing it every week. That's very helpful.
On that thought too, CK, like there's so many different projects to work on within Bittensor and so many different tasks, tools, products that can be built. So if you're a developer, you don't even have to be, a subnet miner or a validator or a subnet owner yourself. You have to just, you can just be whatever type of developer you are, and still make a difference in the ecosystem, because there are so
Yeah.
many different tools and ideas that need to be worked on. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of a cool new playground that is open for everyone, and there's just a lot of people working on a lot of cool things, but it continuously expands. I mean, back to our previous conversation, if you're a Solidity developer, like there's going to be an opportunity for you to contribute in this ecosystem, and I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, I think that's why the EVM I think is a big unlock, and
Mhm.
people aren't even discussing it that much on Twitter yet. But the TAO has already been doing very well. So let's see.
Only the beginning. I wanted to I wanted to highlight some work that Subnet 34 has been putting in, BitMind. They just released this BitMind platform, so it makes it a lot easier for folks to start spinning up miners and training models. So I love this because it really lowers the barrier to entry for folks that want to get started but don't really know how. And yeah, what do you guys think of this? Are you going to go out and start mining some subnets?
The demo is super slick. I mean, huge congrats to Ken and the rest of the team at BitMind for shipping this. I think tooling like this is really important, and I think the main goal of Bittensor is obviously to attract existing AI ML talent that may be working on these centralized big tech projects and at these big tech companies. So I think any initiative like this is a good way to attract that AI ML native talent, because Bittensor is inherently pretty confusing even for crypto natives. So any effort to streamline that process of beginning mining and contributing is a huge unlock for the ecosystem.
Yeah, our team rank Subnet 34 very highly as well. Like we really appreciate what they're doing, and they've been building stuff even before Subnet went live, and they built tooling as well. This way they just started, so good to have them in the ecosystem.
Yeah, I'm glad the ecosystem prioritizes folks that are building out that tooling, because it's something that's needed in a nascent ecosystem, right? And we talked about last week the different frameworks that are coming out of was it Namoray and the Manifold team too. So just a lot of development going on and trying, like I said, lowering the barriers to entry for any participant. So love to see it. Great work, team. Yeah, next up, I wanted to talk a little bit about some accomplishments that a couple of the subnets had talked about these past couple of weeks. First up is subnet number 32. It's AI. So for folks that don't know, they work on AI detection. So you can actually use their front end app to upload some text, and it can spit out if it's AI generated or not. And this is really important because as the world gets more and more AI generated, we're going to have some tools to combat that. So they actually just ran their miners against some benchmarks and had some really great results here. So where do they have it here? So they actually outperformed all models on the RAID benchmark. So crazy accomplishment from these guys. Great to see. And yeah, it just shows the power of Bittensor, really, just to be able to train models in a decentralized fashion that beat the current benchmarks. So love to see it.
I think this is a really cool, area of discussion specifically is like subnets specifically dedicated to improving research and results for a specific benchmark. So with the expansion of subnets in general, we could see very targeted subnets that are trying to develop models in a very specific direction. And I think that's a pretty interesting conversation. And you're kind of opening up this, landscape again, where you can go to a subnet that's specifically optimized for that benchmark and for that kind of task. And you can start to use that for whatever it is, like a research problem that you're working on, or, whatever product or service that you're trying to build and so forth. And that's really where I think open source is going to win out, is because just access to all of these different LLMs for specific benchmarks.
Right. If you have a benchmark, then you can create an incentive mechanism around it. And there you go. Exactly. There's a subnet.
Exactly.
Sorry, did you have something, CK?
I mean, I first seen this just now, so I don't have much thoughts on that. But yeah, 32 is like the text version of 34. I think in general, detecting whether something's generated by AI is a very important challenge, and whether things are fake in general is a very important challenge. I think Viscantes also mentioned he will gladly fund someone working on this. So we see how far the teams can push this, because I think as technology develops, it will become even harder for you to distinguish, and it's a big problem for society overall. So good to see subnets working on this.
I will say, I'll call out and give a shout out to Sami Kassab again at TAO. He's building just the interface, the TAO AI site that aggregates all of these highlights and achievements for all of these subnets. He's doing a really good job of focusing on that and tweeting about that. So if you want to follow achievements specifically much closer, Sami Kassab is a good person to follow, and go visit Taupil because all of the recent achievements are in each of those subnet slots. So
absolutely. Yeah, to round out the discussion on 32, 33, and 34, we got 33, ReadyAI, who also released some great news, some great achievements. They just benchmarked their work. So they work on annotating data. So for folks that don't know, when LLMs are trained, they're trained, of course, using a ton of data, and it takes a lot of data to do that. But what you can do is add some metadata, some notes, some annotations to that data, and that really increases the richness, and it decreases how much total data you need to ingest to train a model. And one of the big like centralized versions of this is Scale AI. So ReadyAI is trying to become basically the decentralized Scale AI. And they just announced that they outperformed MTurk by 71% and GPT4o by 37%. So this is a huge increase over previous studies of this MTurk bench. So love to see it. I think we now have like state-of-the-art models building on or built from Bittensor subnets. So it's some crazy times we live in. Yeah. Any one other thing about this, I don't think too many people had mentioned, they were actually able to do this for not 10 times cheaper, not 100 times cheaper, but 660 times cheaper than using the standard model of MTurk. So it just goes to show what you can do when you have this decentralized, incentivized model creation. You can do it a lot cheaper and a lot better. Yeah, it's really great to see.
Yeah, the team is at the Bittensor event today, and we've always been very impressed by them. Like, they have industry experience, and their design is impressive, and we rated them very highly even before they launched. So it's good to see more teams that have proven track records joining the ecosystem, and using the Bittensor mechanism to push things forward.
let's go.
Let's go. Well said.
There you go.
You also have this paper here if folks want to check it out. It's a nice, short and sweet, to the point. Love to see it. Yeah, and look, we got a little bit of time. I want to talk a little bit about this Omega Labs new focus to earn. So this is a way that everybody out there can go and earn some TAO on their own. You too can be a miner on Bittensor. All you have to do is, I think you submit
focus.
you submit your focus and you earn some TAO. So basically, it is you say what you want to do. If I'm reading this correctly, you say what you want to do, and you record your screen doing it, and that data basically goes into a data set, and they can train models based on that data of accomplishing tasks. So really interesting design. I haven't seen something like this before. But CK, Brody, any comments, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's going to be really hard. This is may not align with the TikTok brains out there. So if you're a TikTok brain rotted folk, then this is not for you. But if you're trying to improve your life, I don't know, man. I don't know if there's like a cure for TikTok brain rot, to be honest. I think we're doomed as a society. So, I mean, you can try, but
you're getting paid to focus now, though. This is the future, man.
That's true. I just think the incentive is so high to brain rot. I mean, because the algorithm is just curated to give you anything you want. And yeah, but besides the point, this is really cool. I think these new insert concept to earn type of things are really interesting in general. Vape to earn was a new one. Shout out to Puff Paw, I guess. Vape to quit to earn. I don't really know how it works, but focus to earn
managed to frame it that way. That's it's quite funny. Yeah.
So this is cool. I think that these models are going to continuously pop up because they're just kind of a X to earn marketing, ploy. But in reality, you're contributing your data, and I think that that's really important for overall AI development. And we're going to be seeing a lot more creative ways to bootstrap the growth of some of these data sets. So really cool. Even though I joke about TikTok brain rot, I really think it's really interesting, and I might try it out. So
Got to get some more TAO, man. Any
That's
means
true.
necessary. Yeah, I just love to see the innovation, and it's interesting because there probably isn't a data set out there that's like this. So it's very novel that they're working on it. So shout out to the Omega Labs
Yeah.
team.
Yeah, and it's good giving people more ways to earn TAO. So the lower the technical barrier, I think the better, because there are so many Bittensor community members that are just eager to to support Bittensor and decentralized AI, in their ways. So this looks quite cool.
Awesome. That's all the news we had for this week, but I know that CK has been dying to share a little bit of some alpha about what's going on with the Tensorplex Labs. So spill the beans, sir. Floor is
Yeah,
yours.
so our subnet is currently on testnet, and we are expecting it to be on mainnet next month. So what it does is it's a human validation subnet, and initially, it will support the generation of human validated synthetic data. So I think the idea that AI is going to hit some kind of data wall, people have been talking about it. And one of the solutions is to use synthetic data. But synthetic data, while it sounds great because it's more scalable, it's cheap, it comes with its own issues. Especially, it reinforces biases or mistakes, basically, of the models if not used appropriately. And we're going to introduce human validation, basically letting people connected to the miners, to be ranking the quality of synthetic data, and then we can use the high quality synthetic data for model fine tuning. So we think it would be if the mechanism works out well, I think it's very promising. And also later on, the goal for us is to introduce human validation to agentic systems or even self-improving AI. So the idea is that in the future, instead of the developers working on fine-tuning the AI, like AI themselves, they can be generating outputs and then asking humans connected to those potential miners to give a ranking or tell them like whether they're going in the right direction, whether maybe the reasoning or the planning of the agentic system is doing well. And we think this can help accelerate AI a lot. And one more thing, the way this summit helps the Bittensor ecosystem is that we can also provide human validation for other Bittensor subnets. So initially, we'll be working with subnet 17, which is the 3D Gen subnet, where we can get human contributors to be ranking the quality of the output of different miners. So this can go into improving the output of subnet 17 and I think subsequently other subnets. So we've been working on this for months and we're very excited that we'll finally be able to ship it and see how much high quality data we can generate.
That's awesome. Really excited for you guys.
Yeah, what do you see the
Thanks
first use cases of this being?
So the first use case, there are quite a few like different sides of it. So
Right.
when it comes to the human contributors, we basically it's kind of like contribute to earn, right? So we're doing basically opening up Bittensor to a wider range of people that may be less technical. They may not know how to to develop models to mine TAO, but this time they're doing some, I would say, rather simple tasks, which is to look at the output of the different leading LLMs when we give them code generation prompts, and then then they can earn TAO if they do the tasks correctly. And then when it comes to synthetic data, so initially, we choose to focus on code generation because code generation is, I would say, one of the areas where it's harder to fine tune the models, and we designed a system where we can synthetically send prompts to different leading LLMs to generate code and then allow human contributors, instead of reading the code, which would be technically challenging, they would just interact with the code that we run for them. So we can easily rank which code is better done by the leading LLMs, and then use it to fine tune open source models. So I think this can help open source models outperform the state of the art LLMs when it comes to code generation. And we just want to prove that this system works as soon as possible.
Wow. Yeah, that'd be great. Is it going to be like a coding co-pilot, or is it just going to be something that can output code giving some kind of prompt, do you think?
So it's more like we will we'll basically collect the ranking data and use it for fine tuning of models. So we will do that part after we collected the data using the subnet, and then we'll probably also publish research and publish the results to show that we can use Bittensor to improve open source models this way. So this can be quite a big unlock, and then we can expand to doing fine tuning of other capabilities of LLMs basically. So we're looking forward to launch. I've been the engineers have been working very hard on it, and on one hand I'm trying to not give them too much stress because they're stressed enough, but at the same time I'm very excited, and I can't help but tell them I just want to ship this as soon as possible. Yeah,
love it, man. That's great to hear. Best of luck with that. Yeah, any closing thoughts? Anybody? Any things you want to chat about?
Yeah, it's been a really good week for Bittensor, the ecosystem as a whole. I think that was a lot of momentum that started to, kick off and pick up due to this, conference, and a lot of people getting excited about the improvements in the tech. People are starting to learn that there's something to look here, and people are getting really excited and trying to figure it out. People hit me up all the time asking me how I'm thinking about certain things. So the people are trying to just go around and uncover stones wherever they can. And I think that that's really good. People are asking questions. People are also saying, hey, I don't know what the hell Bittensor is, but I just bought a huge bag of TAO. And I think that's fine too, Ape first, DD second, I guess. So, hey, if that's you, go ahead if you want. If you don't want to, I know not a financial advice, but you can always learn, more about Bittensor from these conversations and the newsletter. And there's a bunch of other people who are writing excellent stuff and building excellent resources. So I go encourage you to actually educate yourself before aping. But hey,
yeah, such as by following Brody and check the weekly updates. But yeah,
I think I've actually tweeted like the last 5 or 6 tweets that I've had have been about Bittensor, and I feel like I'm, really trying to bull post this. But yeah, maybe I need to go back and talk about more normal person stuff. So
yeah, I think my closing thoughts is that I genuinely think I got a lot of validation basically this week that AI is the most exciting vertical, and I think increasingly people realized despite people back then it's always easier to criticize than to build, and people always try to nitpick on Bittensor despite how early it is. But I think people now realize that there's like the most development by far in this ecosystem, and I think people are now willing to think from the lens of Bittensor is not perfect, but it's like growing very quickly, and OTF and the builders are very engaged and working on improving the system. And in general, not investment advice, but I think it's always better to invest when things are not perfect yet, because when things are perfect, then it's definitely reflected in the price. So again, not financial advice, but at least personally, I'm betting my career and my team members' career. So yeah,
amazing.
Love
all right, 563, your time to bull post now.
No. I think you guys did plenty for me. I appreciate that. And yeah, CK, really appreciate you joining us today. That's been a lot of fun chatting, and really appreciate your perspective from a builder side of things. Where should folks go if they want to learn more about your team, what you guys are working on, all that?
Yeah, they can follow us on Twitter, or I keep calling it Twitter still, but or on X, it's at Tensorplex Labs, or you can follow me as well. My account is at overly leveraged. I named my account like in my previous life as an investor, and I just kept it that way.
No, I love it, man. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
or my co-founder Exponent Crisis. But yeah,
Yeah,
we tweet him quite a bit, so you can find it. But yeah, thanks.
Yeah, we'll leave it in the description. No worries, man. I love the name. I think it fits perfectly with CT. But yeah, thanks all for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the TAO Times newsletter if you want an even deeper dive into this week's updates. And if you want to join the conversation, come ape into the Blockmates Discord. See you all next week. See you guys.
See you.